Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. My topic today is about India's brand image in the world. I've spoken about this before and I continue to speak about this. The reason why I'm going on and on and on about our brand image is because of a very specific reason. You see, our economy is in shambles. And one of the major things that can resurrect our economy is investment into our country, especially foreign investment into our country. Foreign investment can help people get jobs. Therefore, foreign investment can help people go out and buy product, make the market better, and therefore resurrect the economy. Our economy is not slow because we don't have enough people producing enough products. Our economy is slow because there are no buyers. Investment can help that process, can reverse that process, can ensure that people have enough money so that they go out and buy. Now, what am I saying? You see, we all have seen this cover. I am sure it has been discussed enough in this country. The Economist cover, where the first cover in 2010 said how India's growth will outpace China. This was in 2010. In 2013, just before Narendra Modi took over, the headline was, "Would Modi save India or wreck it?" And 2020, the headline was, "Intolerant India." You see, whether we like it or we don't like it, whether we are called anti-nationals or we are called paid media or we are called paid journalist or whatever you call us, this is the way the world views us. This is the way the world is now looking at India. We are seen as an intolerant nation. It took the government and a lot of people a lot of time to understand that India was going through an economic slowdown. People refused to believe that India is going through an economic slowdown. We were given examples of movie becoming hit. We were given examples of God knows what all. People refused to believe that there was an economic slowdown. But today, I think more or less most of us understood that there is economic slowdown. Likewise, people are refusing to believe that our imagery in the world is not going high. Nobody is recognizing our leaders as world leader or anything of that sort. Our imagery on a day-to-day basis is deteriorating in this world. Now, what happens if our image deteriorates? Why are we talking about brand? You see, investment happens on a brand. A good company, a Hindustan Lever, you will invest money because it has got a brand image. In an ABC company, which you don't know about, would you ever invest in Kingfisher, for instance? Would anybody invest in Kingfisher? Why? Because they're going through a lot of bad problems. They owe so many companies, so many banks so much money. So a brand that is not being spoken well of, nobody invests. And when a brand is spoken well, when people think that, it's safe to invest in that brand, people go out and invest. Today, we are not spoken well of in the world. Now let me come to something specific. You see, you must have all heard about the statement that Mr. George Soros made in Davos. He said, the biggest and the most frightening setback occurred in India, where a democratically elected Narendra Modi is creating a Hindu nationalist state, imposing punitive measures on Kashmir, a semi-autonomous Muslim region, and threatening to deprive millions of Muslims of their citizenship. George Soros said this in Davos. Davos is a place where top financial companies, institutions, professionals meet. It's a meeting meant for trade, business, commerce. Now, who is George Soros? Let's first understand this man, George Soros. Then we will discuss how what he said could impact India and why we should take this so seriously. Possibly nobody has told you this. Let's discuss George Soros. You see, George Soros is like the Bhishma Pitama of investment. He's around 90-year-old. He's an old man and a very, very, very senior investor. Almost every investing institution, every investor, every institution looks up to him for guidance. This is George Soros. George Soros is a man who has almost given away 80% of his wealth for philanthropy. He's just given away. In fact, more than 80% of his wealth for philanthropy. He genuinely thinks, talks, act for the good of this world, not a nation specifically, for the world. Therefore, the respects that he garners from this globe, phenomenal. This is George Soros. George Soros is said to be the man who was responsible for the fall of communism in Soviet Russia. So one can't really blame that, he's a leftist, he's a communist, he wants to, anti-Hindu and all. You can't call him because he fought against communism in the world. He brought down the biggest communist state, Soviet Russia. So he fought communism. This is George Soros. George Soros is a person who normally heads of states listen to. Why? Because the investor listens to him. And if George Soros says that this is not a safe place to invest, chances are it is going to impact the investment in that particular country, and that is George Soros. Now, George Soros made this very dampening statement against India, the impact of which we will soon see. We will soon see the impact. So it can't be brushed away under the carpet, calling him anti-national and anti-Hindu and anti-that and anti-this and all, tukde gang and all. You can't call him all that. Because that word of his is going to have huge impact. You see, the sad part of the story is that we are reeling under the pressure of economic slowdown. And over and above that, other than taking steps to recover from it, we are getting pulled deeper and deeper and deeper inside. For the sake of 1.3 billion people of India, I sincerely pray that for a change, the government starts functioning for good governance rather than good results in elections. Because every policy that has been projected, every policy that has been launched, every policy that has been introduced in this parliament is keeping one or another election in mind. The European Parliament would be voting on Kashmir and the Citizenship Amendment Act. 6 resolutions were drafted by various parties. In fact, 6 resolution was drafted by 6 different political groups representing 626 out of the 751 members of the European Parliament. They have drafted this resolution citing that India has violated human rights. India has violated international norms when it abrogated the Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. They also talk about India's violation of human rights when it passed the Citizenship Amendment Act, when it passed the Citizenship Amendment Bill, which later on became an act. European Parliament is also going to put up this resolution day after tomorrow, Wednesday. On Thursday, they will vote on it. Chances are 6 political groups are putting up the draft. Like I said, 626 out of the 751 members are part of these political groups. Chances are the resolution will be passed in the European Parliament. Very dangerous for India. Specifically from trade point of view, specifically from our economic point of view, which is what we are more bothered about at the moment. And secondly, also from an image perspective. And I will tell you what image perspective am I talking about. You see, remember Maddie Sharma? Remember Maddie Sharma getting all those European parliamentarians to India and then to Kashmir, and then they coming out and saying, oh, everything is perfect, all is good. India is doing a fantastic job. Remember all that? Now, the world will start knowing what kind of sham we create. The world will start knowing how we create our own fake news. The world will realize that what's happening inside of India and what India is trying to project outside are two different things. That's what will be the implication of the European Parliament passing this resolution. Just before I end, we had a very interesting and enlightening panel discussion on CAA in the university campus, in the Mumbai University campus. For those who haven't seen it, it's actually a 2-hour, 5-minute thingy. I would suggest do have a look at it. Do write to me with your feedbacks, with your point of view. But the reason I say this is because I found it very interesting, very enlightening, and in a very sane and a very audible fashion. Nobody was shouting at each other. So, if you get time, do watch it. Till we meet next time, Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.